Robert Kayanja is the founder and senior pastor of the Miracles Center Cathedral, a mega church here in Kampala. But he'll tell you his journey hasn't been easy, from nearly dying at birth to being a target of blackmail. Pastor Kayanja, welcome to Turning Point.
Welcome, thank you.
It's good to be back in Uganda, and thank you so much for letting us in the cathedral. Now, Pastor, we have such a short time and there's so much to talk about. But let me ask, for those who may not be familiar about your early years, the incident at birth, tell us about that. What happened?
I was born in a family of 13. I'm number 12. We are 13 children. And so I was born with a stutter, because the way my mom had conceived me, there was a problem. And when it came to deliver me, I had to be moved from hospital to hospital because she became unconscious as she was delivering me. Kind of passed away, passed. And then they had to move her from one hospital to the other to go where the theater was. That is 1962. So, and facilities were not as modern as today. And so from that moment on, but when they took me to the other hospital, as my dad had to make a decision, who should live, his wife or the son, he doesn't know. And so the decision was made that my mom would get a C-section, but my head, before she had became unconscious, my head had been pushed out. Wow. But the rest of the body was still stuck in her body. And so they had to make a decision, and the decision was that they have to cut off my head, then open my mom, pull the rest of the body through her tummy. And so the decision was already made, and as they rolled her to the theater, she revived and she was able to push me out.
Oh my goodness.
And so my coming in this world had drama, and so it has been much of the life.
Well, I guess, like you say, your coming had drama, so there's the drama that's followed after. It's just following suit, but that's unthinkable.
Yeah.
Wow. But anyhow, let me skip forward. Something I really want to touch with you, because the last time I came, we spoke a little, but
Yes.
we couldn't speak so much. Africa has been through so much, wars and all that. The subject of forgiveness is something that I think it's a big subject for us. And for you, it's something that you've had to deal with personally with some of the attacks that you've had in the last few years that you've thankfully come through. Can you honestly say, with the slander, with the things that were said about you and the church, etc., can you honestly say that you've forgiven some of these people?
Forgiveness is a lifetime exercise. I call it exercise. And when someone does this to you, you forgive them quickly, it is known, for me, it is not an automatic event. It's a process you have to go through. It is an understanding you must take in. With what I went through, it was not only me going through it, it's my children went through it, my wife, the church, the generation, the organization you had, the people who trust you, the people who know you, friends, enemies as well. So if you said, I forgive, it's like, no, you cannot just forgive. We need to understand. We need to know the story. What is the truth? What is the lie? What is that? And that process is long, especially when you are involved in a court case.
Yes.
So it is protracted. It draws the whole world into it. The whole international media is into it.
Yes.
Your children walking on the street, they'll find it. The teasing of your kids at school, they get it. They bring it back home. So even when you want, that's why forgiveness is a stream that breaks out into many other iotas and many veins. So if you stop this one, then the other one starts again. And so it is not just an automatic event, but it is a process that you have to go through as a Christian, as a believer, and as a human being.
Let me ask you though, Pastor, because I hear you preachers when you're in your flow and you quote David, that I was glad I was afflicted.
Yeah.
You know, Is it something that you say comfortably that you were glad you fixed? Because coming out of that, I mean, there was a series of crusades you went through as a conversation between you and God unfolded, and thousands upon thousands came to know the Lord. Out of that grew your bigger media ministry, which means many other countries have been reached. So when you look at all that, do you honestly, privately say, I was glad I was afflicted?
That's the beauty of forgiveness. That's the beauty, because when you are afflicted, you must run to the Lord. My message will be to the people that you just run to the Lord. Whatever is happening to you, just go to the Lord, because He'll give you the matching order. Now, you are marching away from your place of affliction, and you are marching away to the place of your uplifting. And that sometimes we die in the valley, a day of unforgiveness, a valley of holding a grudge, a valley of retaliation. And what I learned is that when you go to the Lord, He bridges you over to the other side. And that's what I did. And again, the scripture said, I was glad I was afflicted, because what happened was, through the attacks, we were able to grow 1,000 times bigger than probably would have. Because now we are walking a narrow road with the Lord, and very softly with the Lord, as the scripture said. And as we moved forward, we began to see tremendous explosion, to the extent that even last year we were still growing. We started up an organization called AfriAid, which for the first time in Africa, an African country, delivering relief aid to another African country in South Sudan. And it was like in 1 month raised $2.1 million to donate it as food to the hungry in South Sudan who are under the war. It has have come as a residue, or as one of the things that you go through as you are jumping away from the position of affliction to the position of uplifting.
Now, our time is run out, but I really want to hear from you, Pastor, what the future holds, because of course everyone has their idea of what's going to happen with Africa, what's going to happen with Uganda, etc., etc. But for you, within your ministry, and also there's another dimension as a seer of looking, you could see what happens in the future. What for you would you say is the future for the cathedral, for the ministry, for Uganda, and for Africa?
Currently now we are embarking on 50 crusades across Uganda. We need a revival. The future of Uganda lies within revival. The future of Uganda lies in God. Without God, we have no hope. And again, we have to walk that road of democracy and understanding, and be able to stop the tide of tyranny that has plagued Africa for quite a long time. And through God, as our motto says, for God and our country, we see hope coming to this region more than ever before. We have to feed our neighbors. Right now, 5.6 million Sudanese are on the brink of starvation. 5.6 million Sudanese are on the brink of starvation. The war has not abated. The conflict has not stopped. We still have terrorism in Somalia. Our troops are there. We have problems in the Congo, DRC. Situations keep on erupting in Burundi. But we look in the glass of faith and Jesus Christ, and we see hope that no matter what has happened, the future is in our hands with God.
Pastor Kayanja, thank you so much for joining us on Turning Point.
You're welcome.